Greetings, my name is Patty Jakes, and I am a grateful, recovering alcoholic. And I want to share my experience, strength, and hope with all of you. If I can help just one person get sober, stay sober, or at the same time be happy, joyous, and free, which is really the key to sobriety, then if I just help one person, I'll be very, very successful. And it's all about giving back what I have been given freely. In my first video on YouTube, I wanted to explain where I come from, my history, a little bit of it anyway, and also I want to give the 5 tools that have really helped me to stay sober one day at a time, because all we have is one day at a time. And it was really hard for me in the beginning to understand that concept of one day at a time. I know it sounds easy to understand, but it truly is sometimes 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time. So there are 5 tools that really helped. So that's what I'm going to get into. But first, I want to just qualify what happened to me as an alcoholic and why I had to get sober. This month, I will be celebrating 22 years of continuous sobriety from alcohol. And even though this is for people that suffer from alcoholism, I also consider any drug, and alcohol is a drug. So whether it's alcohol or opiates, or whatever the drug is, I use the tools that have been given to me by many before me through a 12-step program. And I know there's other 12-step programs out there. The one that I chose to help get me sober was Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was not successful right off the bat. I was in and out of the program for 10 years before I was able to surrender completely to alcohol. As you may know, alcoholism is a progressive disease, and my disease was progressing big time. I was 35 years old when I finally was brought to my knees. I was out of control, obviously, with the alcohol, but my system was not able to break it down. Like one night I would drink the same amount as another night, and yet I would black out, whereas I wouldn't black out the next night. And blackout means, for anyone that doesn't know what a blackout is, it's basically you don't remember what you said or did during that period of time. And it can be pretty dangerous. I've met a lot of people in recovery that have done some awful things, not intentionally, but unintentionally. And someone said to me, which really was a moment of clarity for me, does a terrible tragedy have to happen before you stop drinking? Because it was getting dangerous. I had 2 young children, the ages 2 and 7, and my husband worked nights, so it could get dangerous if I was in a blackout. So I actually came to grips with the reality that if I didn't get sober, a terrible tragedy was going to happen. And I honestly didn't want to get sober. I thought that if I stopped drinking, my life would be over, that, I wouldn't have any more fun anymore, and that I wouldn't be able to go on vacations, and that just my whole life would be over. But for the sake of my children, that's what brought me to my knees, because I just knew that it was Russian roulette. And at the same time, I also know, looking back now, that I would probably be dead a long time ago if I had continued to drink the way that I drank, because I was drinking over a gallon of vodka a week, which is quite a bit, especially for a 5'2" person. I was only 5 feet tall. I'm actually shrinking a little bit. If you're enjoying this video If it's helping you at all, if you could press the like button, I would really appreciate it. Also, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be bringing in more and more information about all the tools that have helped me, as well as my life and journey in Alcoholics Anonymous and how it really has saved my life. And on top of that, I've got lots of other ideas for this channel. I'd like to do interviews with those that I am friends with that are sober, that can give you their experience, strength, and hope. And also, please give me any response back as to some of the ideas that you have, or if you're struggling or whatever, if you have questions or you have some ideas of things that I haven't mentioned that would help other people to not only get sober, but stay sober. And also, being sober, happy, joyous, and free is so important, because anybody can just get sober and stay sober. But if you can't be happy, joyous, and free being sober, then you're missing the boat. And that's another reason why I chose to start this YouTube channel, because it's not just about getting and staying sober. It's about having peace and serenity in sobriety, because life happens on life's terms, and so we have to be able to handle that. Well, the first tool that I would say is very important is to not beat yourself up over your alcoholism or your addiction, because it's a disease. Alcoholism is a disease, and when I put alcohol in my system, I cannot stop. There's just no way. And so it's also a way to remind yourself that because we can't stop drinking, once I put one drink, like they say, one drink is too many, because I'm out of control at that point. I can't stop. You are not alone with your feelings. There are other people that have been where you're at and can help you. And in Alcoholics Anonymous, we say, we can do what I can't, because I tried to get sober many times by myself, and I could not do it, because I needed a group of fellows, specifically women, that could help me work not only the steps, the 12 steps of sobriety of Alcoholics Anonymous, but also to help me deal with my feelings and what to do when I feel like drinking. Which brings me to number 2, is to think the drink through. So step 2, or my step 2 tool, is think the drink through. Because if I think the drink through, I'm going to think, okay, I'm going to be back to where I'm at now, where I need to get sober. So instead of picking up a drink and then starting all over again, trying to get sober, if I think it through, it doesn't make sense to pick up that drink. The third tool, which could be actually the number 1 tool, you can put them in whatever order you like, but I found that prayer and meditation is extremely important, which also brings me to surrendering my disease to the God of my understanding, which is what they say in Alcoholics Anonymous. And so just because you surrender the disease doesn't mean that that God or your higher power is going to take the obsession right away. Sometimes that does happen to some people. It didn't happen to me. I, still had the desire to drink, actually several months into my sobriety. So the question is to do a prayer and meditation every morning, as well as a gratitude list, which also helped me immensely with staying sober. The fourth tool is surrounding myself with positive people that are sober, which kind of brings me to AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, where you can find people that, it's like any kind of a organization. You're going to find all types of people, but you'll find your group or the people that you resonate with that, like they say, have what you want, which is how I found my sponsor, because I heard her story and it really hit me that she had been through, in some ways, more than me. Sometimes, you know, depending on how you want to analyze it, but she had what I wanted, which was she was happy, joyous, and free. She was living a wonderful life, sober, and that's what I wanted. And the only way to find that is, for me, was to go to meetings and meet other women and find the right person that resonated with my sobriety. The fifth tool that really, really helped me was living one day at a time, because I always want to look into the future and think, oh, what am I going to do next week? Or how am I going to, how am I going to stay sober when I go on vacation next year? Or I was always living in the future, and I really had to learn to live in the day. And so it was hard to do that. And that's another reason why Alcoholics Anonymous helps, teach us how to live one day at a time without thinking into the future. And there are so many tools, but I would say those 5 tools really helped. And I look forward to bringing you another video and sharing other ways in which I've been able to stay continuously sober for 22 years, happy, joyous, and free. Thank you, and I hope you subscribe to the channel and like this video. Thank you.